All right, everybody. Um, I don't even know why I'm making these videos. Inspiration, I think. I'm tired. I want some rest. Wah. But you know what? I think I'm gonna make some more. But I've made a lot of videos on the Torah and like adding this Camus stuff to the Torah. It just makes so much sense to me. Um, like like there's this one story that I don't understand too much, and my interpretation could be wrong, obviously. Um, but Abraham sent his son to to get a woman, I believe, and they kept doing that. Like, if you want a real woman, send your man to to get a woman. Um, because Abraham was a Sumerian, right? Not a Semite. Or maybe he was half and half. I don't know. Maybe he was a. But whatever. Um, so this one guy went over to and his father-in-law takes him in, and I've talked about this at other times, but the way I see the story is as the following. The father-in-law is purposely fucking with his son-in-law. Like, the father-in-law has a good heart, but he's behaving badly towards his son-in-law. Right now, why would he be doing this? Right. Well, I mean, he makes sure that his son-in-law, his daughter, and his grandchildren are going to be safe. If his son-in-law is stupid enough to fall for his tricks, then he's going to fall for some other man's tricks. So it's better that his son-in-law's under his thumb. But he's treating him badly, right? And there's this comical nature that I see to this father-in-law, because when the father-in-law finds out what happens, he's excited. He's like, "Fuck yeah, good job, you fucked me over." Like, if you're good enough to beat me, then you're good enough to go out there and be free, and whatever happens happens. But he did his job to try to keep his daughter and his grandchildren and his son-in-law, safe. So he kept him under his thumb. But he was excited. He was excited, and they ate that meal, and the meal is this sacred representation of a bond. And there's all this sacred symbolism and stuff happening during that meal. But the father-in-law was excited, right? And so what do I think happened with the whole animal stuff? This is my interpretation, right? My interpretation is that people don't really know animals. It was funny to me. Like, I'd be homeless on the streets writing stories, and there'd be some guys driving by, either glaring at me or yelling, "Get a job," and it's like I could just imagine these guys going home to their dogs, right, and just feeding their dogs and loving their dogs, and their dogs are just like homeless bums who aren't doing shit, and but like, people don't understand that dogs can have bad behavior. There are some dogs out there that are narcissists. But how do these dogs behave? Like, a narcissistic dog will go up to you and he'll wave his tail or her tail, and they'll just da 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 da. But all they want to be is petted, right? And if you don't pet them, they will eventually get so close to you that they'll put their face into yours. Like they're trying to control you. But they're wagging their tail, they're showing excitement, like they're manipulating you. There are some animals out there that manipulate you just so they can get the pleasure of a massage. You know, this, like I met this dog recently. It was a narcissist, you know. It did this behavior. It also, when it was fed, it would just inhale its food. It wouldn't even taste. It would just, and it would eat anything that was put in front of it. It was a bad behaving dog, but like nobody saw it. And I'm just sitting back like, if I didn't pet him, then he would snot me, like he was sneezing, right? So people didn't. Oh, he just sneezed, and it's just something that happens in the subconscious. They don't even recognize it, but it's like, fucking A, he snots me every time I refuse. Every time he finally gives up, he'll snot me. You know, and it's like, damn, you know, this is a bad behaving dog. So what I think he did was, I think he praised all of these bad behaving dogs. You know, like, Ninurta, it is good to praise you. Right? So he praised all these bad behaving, but bad behaving good dogs are going to hurt the good behaving dogs most likely. Or not all of them, but some of them will. So there are loving dogs out there, you know. There are some real. You know, dogs have different behavior. All animals have different behavior. And if you're a scientist, you look back, and you just observe the behavior, and you see which behavior is healthy and which behavior is unhealthy. You know, you don't have to talk about morality. But, you know, I mean, my claim would be that the good behaving dogs are going to have blemishes, you know, but these good behaving dogs are not righteous, as the Book of Enoch would say. And God will long suffer the unrighteous, right? like God is laughing at you while you're crying. Because I mean, this one guy who went over while his father-in-law is like cheating him. You know, he's suffering. You know, and why me? But so he allowed the bad behaving dogs to harm the good behaving dogs. So the good behaving dogs are gonna have blemishes, right? So he takes all of the bad behaving dogs with him, or all the good behaving animals with him, and he leaves his father-in-law all the fucking narcissists and the asshole animals, right? I mean, this is I think that's what happened, and to me that's pretty funny. Now the father-in-law, who doesn't have a bad heart, is excited. It's like, this is funny. Like the father-in-law found this funny. But it also endeared the son-in-law to him. It's like, now you can be free. Whatever happens, I mean, you guys could die out there, but whatever happens, you know, my grandchildren are going to be safe with this man's decisions, right? And anyways, but like there's also the one Jew father who has the two sons, and like I always thought this guy was an asshole. Like I thought, man, this guy's a fucking asshole, you know, because he has the one son. You know, and he's the eldest son, and this eldest son is like, yeah, you know, I can kill a fucking deer with an arrow. Ugh, I'm a man. Ugh. Ugh. Right? I mean, he's just this, like, idiot child. And then you have the good son, who's got, you know, amazing heart, amazing mind, and he just fucking ignores the shit out of him. But recently I did a video, which said, hey, maybe this guy was doing this on purpose, right? And I was shocked by it at the time, but I don't know why I was shocked by it, because I had this thought before, but my thoughts are all jumbled in my head. Anyways, so, but here's the fascinating thing. Like I did these videos on the Tales of Ninurta. And I was reading the Tales of Ninurta, and I was just fucking like blown away. Like this is fucking awesome, And it was like, this was like, when I made the video, this was like the first time I read it, and so I'm still like, what is this? But by the end, I'm just like, OMG, this is fucking like a story that I've never seen before. But what was happening in it was very surreal. It was strange because you have Ninurta, right? And he's the god, and he's like a modern day action hero, right? And right, but you see, you have to talk about the author of this tale, right? Now, the author of this tale, everybody assumes is a priest. Okay, I assume that too. I don't know if there's any proof of this, but what I find weird is that the author is cognizant of how stupid Ninurta is, and I mentioned it at the time, and I'm just like, you know what, this behavior is kind of bad, right? I mean, Ninurta might have a really good heart. He might have a loving heart, but he has he has toxic stupidity. And to me it was fascinating because the writer had to have been cognizant of the fact that Ninurta is this raging moron, right? He totally is. But Ninurta, it is good to praise you, right? And so this is, how should you deal with toxic people, right? And the same advice is in the Descent of Inanna, right? Because who is Ereshkigal? Like, Ereshkigal is the representation of basically a narcissist. Like, this is narcissistic behavior, and it's funny because all the gods are just like, ew, like, I don't want anything to do with her, like. You narcissistic bitch, like, stay away from me, right? And then that would be the advice of a modern psychologist. A modern psychologist is like, free yourself from the narcissistic grip. Free yourself. Love yourself. When you get out of the narcissistic grip, you need to learn to love yourself, right? And but it's like fascinating because, I mean, that's some very sensible advice, but that's not the advice that's coming out of this Descent of Inanna. The advice coming out of the Descent of Inanna from the wise God, right? We're gonna do the wise God, right? The advice is to praise, is to feed that narcissism, I mean, it's, this is why I started making this video, because it's like absurd. It's like, it's like when Moses and the writers of the Torah view evil, when they view evil, they view it as absurd. Right? Like the narcissist is absurd. Like, yeah, no, it's right. This eldest child is a raging moron. Right? But the father is now has the tools to shepherd the son. Right? He's going to make sure the son is on a leash. Right? And he does that through praise. Right? Like, this father is acting like Kar-ur. Right? Kar-ur is just this badass character. Right? Like, Kar-ur has way more power than Ninurta. Right? And that's obvious in the story. The battle axe I speak of. But he's acting like Kar-ur. He's praising his eldest son. Right? Now he's able to keep his eldest son on his home. Right? Like I said, someone like Ninurta can be fine or dangerous depending on the person that controls their mind. If this eldest son is out in the world, then he might like murder somebody. And that would be on the father. That would be on the father. I think, according to, I could be wrong, according to this ancient thought. And I think that's where the sacrifice of Abraham comes in. Most likely. But I think that's what he was doing. He was making sure his son's not out there causing problems. And now he's going to have also influence over his grandchildren. Because just because your father is a raging moron doesn't mean you are going to be. And now that he's going to be able to shepherd his grandchildren, right? So I think that's what was going on. It's like there's this absurdity to evil, I guess. Instead of being like scared by it, it's like the person who seeks power is really truly alone, because they just want to control people. It's all an illusion that they present to the world. Like it goes back to this narcissistic dog. Like everybody puts on the face of the hero, and it's all about searching the heart. But when you're searching the heart, I think for the writers of the Torah, it's like, no, evil is comically stupid. And it's frightening, maybe. No, it is. It is frightening, because if I'm right, then Um, and the writers of the Torah believed this. Then what would that mean about God? Right? That might mean that when you're being unrighteous, God is laughing at you. In the book of everything, it's like the angels are like, hey, climb that rope. Climb the rope. If evil is out there, then go kick its ass. Stop whining. This idea that God will long suffer the unrighteous, that basically means no hero is ever going to come to save you. No one's coming to fucking save the day. On the current course, you're all going to die. Because there's a lot of violence in the world right now. A lot of violence, and it's escalating. But it would be frightening, the thought that God would be laughing while you're crying. A lot of people just dismiss the Torah. And one of the reasons they dismiss the Torah is just the nature of God within it, right? Because, at one point, like, God is saying some of the most tender stuff. Like, listen to some of the stuff being said. It's just so tender and heartfelt. And, but then he's like, kill them all, blood, give me blood. And it's just like, this is fucking crazy, this is wrong, this is stupid, but it's like, people talk about holiness, right? And holiness just means wholeness, right? I haven't talked about what's his name? You have Moses, and then you have Samuel, right? So I haven't talked about Samuel yet. I plan to do a whole bunch of videos on Samuel at some point, but I need to reread it and just get my get with it. But Samuel's pretty cool because Samuel's different than Moses. It's like all these characters in the Torah, they're different characters. And their relationship with God will be different and unique. And I think that's what this shows in all these different characters. But Samuel was like almost the exact opposite of Moses, because Moses was like this, he's gonna go beat the shit out of somebody and kill him and bury him in the ground. So they've got opposite personalities. Moses also really shits on city life, basically, I think, and praises the Habiru, the I mean, he's a fighter, so he's going to be praising this life of like rah rah rah. But Samuel was not like that. Samuel was a gentle man, and we see different people out in the world, and some men are like, oh, I'm a man, and other men are they're gentle. And Samuel was definitely a gentle man. But there's this Psalm, right? And Samuel wrote the Psalms, I believe. But there's this Psalm, and that's one thing I haven't done. I haven't done the Psalms. So when I do Samuel, I need to do the Psalms, but it'll be for the first time. Not the first time, because I've done the Psalms before, but not right now. Because it's all a puzzle, a game, a word game. Anyways, but there's this one psalm, and it's like he's talking about the evil man, and the evil man is what did he say? He said, I think I made a video on it, and I shouldn't have, but I did. And it basically said he's slithering away, and the description of it, like when you listen to the description of this psalm, basically, if you put this into a real life situation, a man is crawling away even though they're mortally wounded, right? Now that, like, we could say psychologically, right? We could say psychologically that doesn't make any sense. Like, this guy knows he's going to die, but he's still trying to live by crawling away like a slug. And it's like, how could Samuel ever have been able to create this imagery? And it could have been inspiration. It could have. But it also could have been the fact that Samuel did it. In other words, Samuel went around stabbing motherfuckers. Right? Because he is the law, right? When God establishes kingship, he doesn't establish kingship. He just says, give them what they want. No, Samuel was always in charge. And David was his inerta. But anyways, what's fascinating, what we're talking about right now is the change that Samuel had to have gone through to being this gentle man to go around stabbing motherfuckers, right? And I think that's when he finally read Moses and understood Moses, right? Because Moses was this kick-ass man, but he was criticizing his earlier self, and Moses learned to be more gentle. So when he went into Canaan, in order to conquer Canaan, he didn't conquer Canaan. He judged Canaan, meaning he got rid of the bad guys and left the good guys. That's why there were still Canaanites all around the Jews after the conquest of that one guy. Badass Jew, fighter Jew. I'm a fighter Jew. But I think Moses was a fighter Jew, and I think if he were alive today, he'd probably be in the UFC. He'd be kick ass, kick your ass. Anyways, but no, this is the wholeness of God. I think that's what they're representing. It's like, in order for you to be whole, sometimes it's good to just get angry, and you don't have to get angry at anyone. That's probably a bad thing. But you can just get angry without getting angry at anyone. Like whoever said that anger like needs anyone in it, you know? I had a car at one point and I gave it up. I just didn't want to deal with it. And so I do a lot of walking, and I walk to work. It's about a 45-minute walk, and sometimes I'm walking through the desert in the heat. And it's fun though. Like I like it, and people are like pitying me, and I like as they're pitying me, I totally see like that Wall-E movie, right? And I'm just like, but when I'm walking out in the desert, sometimes I'm imagining myself in like a John Wayne movie or a Clint Eastwood movie, and I even hear the music, and it's like, and I'm struggling along out there, and it's fun. It's fun walking in the desert and sweating, just make sure you know your limits, definitely. You might kill yourself. Don't blame me. But, I think that's the wholeness of God. And, if you were an Aristotelian, right? If you're an Aristotelian, then thank God I'm not. Although, respect, they're like totally smart, like awesome for them. But if you're an Aristotelian and you're talking about God, I think they'd use the word essence, the essence of God. If God exists, the essence of God must be innocence, right? And, maybe we're dealing with a child, right? Maybe we're dealing with a child. That's a strange thought. That's pretty absurd.